consideration to the theme of the recent World Economic Forum in Davos. The gathering's theme this year was dubbed Understanding the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
Well, earlier on today, we spoke to digital expert Arthur Goldstuck and asked him what the benefits and the threats are of this new technological age.
They're really talking about when the World Bank, for example, and the World Economic Forum were talking about the fourth industrial revolution. They were talking about automation beyond what we've known as the traditional industrial revolution, where it was automatic machines. Now we're talking about automatic decision making. So that's really what they refer to as artificial intelligence, which is computers making decisions for us, not controlling us, but certainly making decisions for us, and we're going to allow them to control us. So to the extent that it seems to work for businesses, for economies, we will find ourselves being controlled by automatic decision making. And it's not always going to work out well. And one of the big challenges facing us is the shift in the job description of the entire human race. They forecast, for example, that something like 5 million jobs will be lost by 2020. My argument is that those jobs have been disappearing for quite a while now. And it's not suddenly that 5 million people will be out of work. It's that those people have been losing their jobs for quite some time. And we have to change the way we prepare people for this future.
So it's a long time coming, and we are aware of these things. But so, and what you're also saying is that the fourth revolution that we're talking about is really just an upgrade from the third revolution.
That's exactly what it is. It's faster, it's more connected, and it's more automated, but also it's more intelligent, and a lot of it is happening without us knowing. It's under the hood, as they say, of the devices that we carry with us.
What are some of the demands of these digitalization in relation to sharing of data, especially in countries that are still fighting poverty like ourselves and the rest of the world?
Well, in the United States, for example, they talk about big data, and big data allowing businesses to make decisions faster and faster. And you see organizations like Google and Facebook becoming some of the biggest companies in the world. Google this week became the world's largest company by market capitalization, thanks entirely to its ability to manipulate big data. But we don't yet have that luxury here where we can play with the data. We have too many problems on the ground that we have to solve. But this fourth industrial revolution can help us solve it if we embrace some of the principles of it, like, for example, creative problem solving. That's regarded as one of the key forms of dealing with the future and one of the key requirements of education for the 21st century. But what we see at the moment in our own education system is that we're still preparing people for that first and second industrial revolution, not even the third industrial revolution. So we're not ready for what's coming, and we're not preparing our children or our educational system. So the entire educational system has to shift.
So if we look at that and talking about that, because we need to prepare ourselves for this fourth revolution, what sort of skills are we looking at that is going to, because we know that there's going to be job losses. You indicated already 5 million. That's worldwide. So what sort of skills are we looking at for the fourth revolution?
There's two key skills that keep coming up, and especially when we talk about reinventing the education system. And that is not a specific job-oriented skill, but an ability to work in certain ways. And there are two key ones. The one is to be able to collaborate and work in teams, absolutely critical, because teamwork is going to be a key to this future. And the other is the ability to solve problems and to take a creative approach to problem solving. And that's where our education system is falling short, because it's geared towards rote learning, repeating in parrot fashion what you've learned, as opposed to tackling what you've learned and using that information to address critical issues. So let's say, take for example the problem of low economic housing or slums. And every developing country in the world is wrestling with that particular issue. But we don't see our educational system geared towards how do we solve that problem. And that is one very simple example of a problem that's right on our doorsteps that we need to solve, that our educational system is not geared towards.
Let's take a look at job losses. Who will be, or what sector will be the casualties when this technological advancement and revolution takes over?
A lot more of what we saw in the first two industrial revolutions, which is that anything that can be automated on a production line is going to be done by robots. And the robots are becoming more and more sophisticated. We often think about the robots of the future as being these humanoid creatures walking among us, perhaps serving us, perhaps trying to take over the world. But in reality, the robot economy is one of automated production lines and industrial activity.